Hey guys, I got a neat project here to do today, and I want to show y'all how I made this. It's a reveal card, and what you do is you put your card together and you pull this tab, and you have your image here and your sentiment here, and it goes just like that. Isn't that pretty? And then you have your sentiment on the top as well as the inside. So let me show y'all how to put this together. So what we're going to need for this project is the stamp set. You can use any stamp set, but I'm using the Painted Harvest stamp set, and the colors that I used are Crumb Cake, Old Olive, Fresh Fig, Pumpkin Pie, and Crushed Curry. You will need a hole punch. You will need a circle punch. I don't have a circle punch, so I just used a circle framelit and run it through my Cuttlebug. And how you do that is you put your layers together, because you'll need a tab opening. So you can either punch it with a punch or run it through your Big Shot or Cuttlebug, whichever one you have. You will need 2 panels of Sierra Sand, is what colors I use today, and they are just the regular card base 5.5 by 4.25. You will need some DSP, and I am using the Painted Autumn, and it's the same size, 5.5 by 4.25, and I pre-punched my hole so everything would be a little bit faster. For my sentiment on the front, I'm thankful for you. What I did is I just used a 2.5 circle, stamped it, and then just with my paper trimmer just trimmed it off. You will also need a piece of ribbon and a white panel, which measures 3.25 by 4.75, and that is your slider element. And you will need some dimensionals and some score tape. So let's get started and put this card together. So what you do is you take your card front and you glue your designer series paper to the top. Now what I used was the old-fashioned Elmer's stick glue. It just seems to work a little bit better because you need some full coverage for this one. So you just glue it all down, get the areas that you missed. Take your card front that you've already prepared and just line it up. And it does give you a little bit of wiggle room to line it up. Just like that. And then you set it aside and let it dry. Just make sure it's nice and smooth. After it's dry, you're going to take it to your paper trimmer. And this is kind of difficult to understand, but you use your paper trimmer and you're going to make a square inside this panel, and you're going to start on this side, placing it at the quarter mark, and you're going to score 3 sides, or you're going to cut 3 sides, and you're going to score a top. And then you're going to take it down to 1/4. So it should be about right there. So start it at 1/4. That's a half. And that's your 1/4 right there. And just cut down to 1/4. You want to look at your measurements before you decide to cut. The top with the semicircle is the side you're going to score. So go back up to your first cut and count up 1, 2, 3. I always put my thumb there and go to that cut. Then turn it around, put it on your quarter mark, go back up to your cut line, and there's 1/2 quarter. And then put your blade at the bottom so you're not tempted to use it. And then put it back on your quarter mark. And this one you're going to score. So put it at your first cut and score to your second cut. And then you just want to lightly make sure you got everything cut, because you are cutting through 2 pieces of paper. And if you didn't quite get it all the way to corner, just use your snips and cut it. Then you're going to put it back in your trimmer, and this is scoring. We're not cutting anymore. We're done with cutting. Put it in your scorer at 1.5. Bring it down to your cuts. Score 1.5. And then you're going to score at 3 1/8. So put it at 3 1/8 and score there between your cut marks. So you're going to take your top score line and you're going to fold it over and crease it real good. And then you're going to valley fold your middle one, or mountain fold, I don't know the difference, I guess, evidently. And then mountain fold, and then you're going to valley fold your last one. So you're making a tent is what you're doing. And that's how it should look at this point. Just like that. So, our next thing, so you're going to take your top panel and your base layer, and you're going to line them up, and you're going to kind of look to see how far you want your reveal to go up, and you're going to draw a line in the square that you see. This will give you an idea of how much room you have to stamp in. So the first thing we're going to do is use our first layer of our sunflower, and I've marked mine at the top with a Sharpie, and we're going to use crushed curry, and I've got my stamp pad out to help me, and you just ink your stamp up just like that, and just stamp the first part of the sunflower, and then you take your second part of your sunflower, and I'm using pumpkin pie, and just line it up, my little black dots at the top, and stamp it. And then I always turn it and do the next generation stamp ink a different direction. Gives it a little bit more detail. And then I'm going to stamp my center with some crumb cake. And I stamp it a couple of times too, different directions. just like that. Then I'm going to take Old Olive and do my leaves. And you can stamp off, because what hangs out of that square is not going to show. It's going to be covered up. And just stamp your leaves around. And I went back and used the detailed stamp as well. And I just stuck with Old Olive. You just line it up and keep stamping where you stamped the first generation leaf. Just like that. And I lost my little center detail stamp. I can't find it anywhere. So what I do is just take one of my spectrums, or you can do Copic, and just do a couple little dots just scattered around. Just like that. So we have the base, and we can put this together. And how I do that is I take score tape and just get you a piece. And place it on the 3 edges, both sides and the bottom. Just like that. And then you trim off whatever's overhanging. And then I take my piercing tool and just remove the backing. Then you start at the bottom and just line your card front to your card base. And just press it into place. Then you take your insert piece, insert it to where it lines up at the bottom. Just like that. And then you want to pull this one up, and you kind of want to just eyeball it to as far to your line right there. Then draw yourself another line on this insert piece to where you know how much room you have for your stamping for your inside. So for the inside, with my sentiment, I am using Fresh Fig. It looks blurry at first, but I've noticed that once it dries, it's kind of like it clears up a little bit. And then we're going to do our acorns. And I used chocolate chip for the acorns and crumb cake for the little top. Just put one in the corner, one in the corner, one in the corner. Get your top. Our crumb cake. And just line them up. Just like that. Now we're ready to put our insert in the middle. Get it lined up to the bottom. Then you're going to put score tape on the back of your, they're calling this a tongue, on the back of your flap. Get it all the way to the edge. Trim up your excess. Remove your backing. Press it down as close to the edge as you can get it. And there you have your slider card. And don't forget to go back through and erase your pencil marks. And then you just pop your sentiment in the front up on dimensionals. So there you have the Painted Harvest reveal card. And like I said in the past, if you want any of these products, just go to my online store, stampinwithkathy.stampinup.net, and just look for the product numbers on the video. And like I said in the past, if you like this video, please subscribe. Show me some love and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.